Hello everyone, this is Rudy Davis, and I'm going to make a little bit different video than I normally do. I got into a civil discourse with Atheist Blind Chick, which is another YouTuber, and our discourse became too involved to carry out in the comment section, and Atheist Blind Chick suggested that I make a YouTube video on my argument for the soul of man. And I agree to do that in good faith. I think Atheist Blind Chick was a little offended, maybe a lot offended, by my previous video where I put forth the statement that atheism is destructive to society. And I give the reasons in my previous video why I make that statement. And there's nothing wrong with Atheist Blind Chick getting offended. Matter of fact, I think more people in this world should get offended. It proves that you're not a jellyfish when you get offended. So I am in good faith going to make a YouTube video with my argument for the soul of man. I hope we can keep this in a civil discourse. I do have nothing but respect for Atheist Blind Chick, and I think she is an independent cuss, and I find her a fascinating thinker. But I still hold on to my belief that atheism is destructive to society, and I fundamentally disagree with atheism. So anyway, having stated that, I've wrote out something that I would like to read, and I may sound a little robotic, but I'll probably post a link to this, and it probably will go more than one video. It's an in-depth subject, and it's hard to cover in one 10-minute interval. So it may go 2 videos, and I'll post the transcript on probably my website. I'll have the link on the side. And let me just read what I got, and I'm sure that Atheist Blind Chick will provide a rebuttal, and I am interested in her thoughts. Let me also state before I read this that I'm not trying to win a victory over Atheist Blind Chick. This is not 2 warriors going to battle, and one will be slain and one will be owned. I am trying to have civil discourse with her, and I find her thinking fascinating, and I am truly interested in her thoughts. Now, I will keep this on a civil discourse and hopes that everyone else will. You can certainly attack my arguments, and I hope that we don't resort to personal attacks. I certainly will not do that. But having stated that, let me read what I got, and let's move on. Okay, and again, I'm probably going to sound a little robotic. I'm not the best reader, but here is my argument nonetheless. And this is a personal message that I sent to Atheist Blind Chick, and it's a little long, and I'm just going to read it. Hello, Atheist Blind Chick. While I fundamentally disagree with your atheism, I find your comments insightful, and I never claimed the U.S. Constitution is a Judeo-Christian document, and I am a strong believer in the separation of church and state. I suspect that because I stated that I believe in the U.S. Constitution and I also believe in a God, that you believed otherwise. I prefer to be around God-fearing people, and I still believe that atheism is destructive to society, but I respect and would actually fight for your right to be an atheist. Above all, I personally believe man should be free and independent and have the ability to exercise his free will of our souls. I hope the next part of my comments are not too personal. I suspect you will be angry with me even bringing it up. I will take that chance. It is now only that I realize you are physically blind. I do not bring this issue up to imply that it will change our conversation in any way. I suspect that you may get very angry with anyone who offers you sympathy, and that is not my intention. I can tell that you are a very independent woman, and I respect that. I would like to borrow some words from a friend of mine. I call him a friend of mine, but he's a blogger that I found on the web, and he offers some very fascinating thoughts in regards to man's soul. I have never personally met him. I will put his link up on the sidebar as well. His name is Matt Chait, and Matt puts forth the argument that we are not our bodies. In other words, man has a soul, and it is not part of our physical bodies. I think you are in a unique position to evaluate this argument, and I do value your opinion even if you decide to rip it apart. I only ask your honest evaluation. The following is the argument. Our soul, also known as our consciousness, is not the vision that we see, but our soul is the seer of our vision. Our soul is not what we listen to through our ears, but it is the hearer of the sound. Our soul is not contained within the physical matter of our bodies. Please let me make the additional points in an attempt to drive this home. Here we go. How do you experience your desires? If you want to look out the window, do you have to hang around and wait until your brain feels like looking out the window and then you slavishly follow? If I asked you if you wanted $10, would you have to wait to see what your brain wanted before you said yes? The reason, and I want to say the obvious reason, but I guess it's only obvious once you get it, is that the brain lights up, that these neurons fire in a particular areas, is because you want them to fire. The brain is serving you. You are not serving the brain. Desire begins with you. Desire is what sends the signal that fires up the neurons that you need to be fired to realize your desire. You, not your brain, is the beginning of your experience. I cannot believe how hard it is for some people to distinguish between an electron or a chemical and the way we experience that electron or chemical. Do you ever consider that when you are looking at a sunset, there is a flow of electrons and chemical deposits in the brain, and when you are in a fist fight, there is a flow of electrons and chemical deposits in the brain. And these flows of electrons are the same electrons at the same voltage, and these chemical deposits are the same chemicals, whether it is a Texan looking at the sunset, or an Azerbaijani or a Maasai warrior. And it is the same flow of electrons at the same voltage if these people were looking or fighting in 2009, in 1009, or in 2009 BC. Every thought that every human being has ever had, every sight and smell and taste and touch has been accompanied by the same flow of electrons and combinations of the same chemical deposits. How do your atheist friends reconcile the enormous disparity between the endless, amazing variety of our experience and the remarkable sameness of these biological reactions? You experience the world in all its richness and variety through your sense organs directly. The brain records that experience in a way so that when you are confronted with a similar experience, the information that you gathered from the last experience and the feelings that you had in the last experience are available to you again. In this way, your equipment, the brain, allows you to define and deepen your relationships with your environment and your fellow beings. But the brain records your experience. It does not record the brain's experience. Let me read that again. But the brain records your experience. It does not record the brain's experience. And you, not your brains, interpret those chemical and electrons back into your remembered knowledge and experience. You have no physical organs of interpretation in the brain or anywhere else. You are doing that interpretation, and you are doing that non-physically. You and not your brain is the end of your experience. Okay, that is the end of the argument. And I'm going to also write this part too. After considering the argument above, is it still your position that man does not have a soul that is not part of his body? Do you truly believe that once you are dead, it is all over and there is no afterlife? Again, I sincerely am not trying to win a victory over you. If you don't believe man has a soul that is separate from his body, I will accept that we have an honest disagreement.